Hi, Philip Dahlheimer here with PinkSlipMixers in Las Vegas. We're here with Sara Allred. She's a recruiting manager for DirectLink, and we're going to be talking about jobs, resumes, interviewing, social media, and the like. Sara, how you doing?
I'm fabulous. How are you?
Great. Thank you for taking the time to meet with us. So tell us a little bit more about DirectLink and where your focus is.
DirectLink is a full-service staffing firm. We specialize in clerical, finance, as well as professional positions, both on a contract level as well as direct hire.
Very good. Now you take resumes in through the mail and online. And so what are the advantages to either or?
I think that the advantages in sending in a resume versus an online application or something of that nature, you're probably going to get a resume sooner if it's emailed electronically than a fax machine, or even sometimes the mail. The mail moves slow, faxes stack up, an instant resume and an email comes across right away directly to whoever it's supposed to. Online applications, the webmaster may not be checking that on a daily basis. There could be a delay there. The delay could be enough to cost an interview.
So on resumes that they would fax in or email in, I've heard about the content of the resume and the appearance of the resume. So what should applicants or candidates be looking for or make sure that they present in their resume if they're going to email it in, as far as the look and the presentation?
Well, I'm a big advocate of a clear, concise resume that has specific details. And a perfect example of that is if you're a CFO and one of your achievements was streamlining an accounting process that saved your company money, versus saying streamlined processes, perhaps it might be better to state streamline the online payroll system that resulted in a $500,000 annual savings to an employer.
Right.
It stands out. It's much more specific. I read a lot of top producers, but I'm really interested in the guy or girl who was number 2 out of 20 sales reps versus a top producer.
So do they get that option when they do online to be specific? I know there are already set questions that the applicant has to answer. So what areas might they be able to emphasize some of their strengths or whatnot?
If I were doing an online application, and sometimes it's unavoidable, some companies that's the only avenue to applying, I would be sure that I'm focusing on the actual job description that the company posted, and look for kind of highlight what I've done and mirror what they're looking for. And as I'm filling out the app, I'd be very cognizant of that.
Right, because most online applications, they have scrubbers, and so they filter. So you have to be concerned about what that program is going to be filtering. And as you said, you have to put in content that's actually in the application. Is there any more advice you can give on that?
Absolutely, and I know this sounds so silly, but it's so true right now. That scrubbing software is out there, and even when they don't have that software, oftentimes recruiters are inundated with resumes. So what they're doing is they're scanning and they're looking for very specific keywords that their decision maker told them to post. So for example, I just recently, maybe 6 months ago, had a resume kicked back, and I really had to go to my client and educate them and go back and forth with them for a minute to get this candidate an interview, because she was a 401k administrator who had worked for a pension company. However, she didn't have the word pension in her resume. And when they scanned it, they didn't see the word pension. They saw benefits and they saw 401k, but they didn't really take the time to analyze that. So I really had to go to bat, but sometimes you don't get a chance to come back.
Right. Because once that's submitted, it's gone, and it's going through the process. So the focus is take keywords out of the job description and make sure that they are included in your application process.
Absolutely, and of course, as long as you've really done it, there's nothing wrong with that. Oftentimes, it can just be a synonym.
Right. So now they've gotten through the process, the resume has gone through the whole process, and now they're ready for the interview. So what advice can you give candidates about when they first walk through the door, through the interview process, and how they're supposed to exit the interview?
Wow, that's a big question, Phil.
3-part question.
I know. I think that,
phases.
there we go. I think that the first phase would obviously be, and I think most people know this, to dress for success. You're obviously representing, yourself. You're selling yourself, and that's the best product you can ever sell. And that's really what an interview is, especially a first interview. So the basics of this would be, don't be too early. Of course, don't be late. Over 15 minutes early can really aggravate an executive. They've got busy schedules, and they tied you into a certain time for a reason. Engage the office when you're walking in. You definitely want to say hello to that receptionist.
Yes,
She has some input.
She's a gatekeeper.
Yeah, that's right. She or he has some influence. So, be yourself, but obviously engage. And when you're sitting down with the executive at this point, I think body language plays a lot.
You have to pick up on some of your mannerisms.
Yes.
Like the so's, like the filler words.
Yes.
Record yourself, possibly, either by video or audio, and listen to yourself before you go to the interview.
I absolutely agree with that, and I think connotation plays a lot. So, for example, if someone asked me, do I know ABC software? There's two ways I could answer that question. I could say no, which is instantly a negative. It just is, and whether the interviewer realizes that or not, they're going to pick up on that at some level. So a better answer might be, I'm very computer literate. I know I can pick it up.
Right.
Those are two totally different perspectives on the same answer, and I think it's important.
So as they're leaving the interview, they think it's gone well. What are your recommendations for ending the interview? When can I start? Or is there a better way to end that interview?
I think it's going to depend on the person and the position. I think regardless, if you're interested in the position, you need to let the person interviewing you know that at some level.
They're not going to guess it by themselves.
They're not. You don't want to be too pushy. You don't want to be that candidate. However, for me, one of my closing lines would be something along the lines of, it was a pleasure meeting you, Phil. I am so excited about this opportunity, and I'm ready to be a part of your team. You let me know.
Exactly. That's a perfect ending.